rage. Very often it begins with the rage against those some. Like when I was like, I don't know, 11, 12, 11, I thought that I would go and be a fighter pilot. I sort of realized that I would have to be probably too much employed in the regime or whatever, helping the regime. So I thought, oh well, it's probably not the way I want to be. Well, you have to consider I was born in '67, which means that when I was like 2, 3, it was the moment when the biggest repressions caused by Russians' occupation in Czech Republic happened.
Cerny traces his impulse to revolt to a childhood under communism where freedom of expression was suppressed. When he was 4, a statue of Lenin was erected in a square near his house. One day, as he and his father were driving by, his father muttered that they would be better off building streetlights. Later, when David repeated this at kindergarten, his teacher called his parents to warn them about their young subversive. From 1988 to 1994, David Cerny studied at the Academy of Arts, Architecture and Design in Prague. And while a student there, he first drew attention when in May 1991, at 22, he was arrested after painting a giant Soviet tank pink, transforming what was supposed to be a memorial to the liberation of Czechoslovakia by the Red Army in 1945 into the sculptural equivalent of a large pink toy. For Cerny, the tank had been a symbol of the Soviet-led occupation of Czechoslovakia in 1968 and a monument to decades of Russian oppression.
The war memorial, it was in the center of Prague. It was, where it's supposed to be the first tank which actually approached Prague and liberated Prague on the end of the war. But it was complete fake. It was live from the first beginning. So it was probably a memorial of the war for 20 years, or 23 years. But after that, after the invasion, when the Russians invaded, same way as Ukraine, when they invaded Czech Republic in '68, for everybody it happened to be a symbol of the Russian dominancy and occupation. So with the tank, I had those 5 minutes of fame back home. First layer of the pink was there only for like 2 days, and it was repainted immediately by Czech army. And of course, it was like a huge scandal, and that I probably enjoyed it for the first month, and then I began to hate it. So because I was like always introduced, this is the tank guy, it's like, well, I was like, fuck.
One of Cerny's more notable contributions to Prague is Tower Babies, a series of cast figures of crawling infants attached to the Zizkov television tower. The tower, a symbol of the communist era, which stands jarring against the beauty of Prague's skyline. David first sculpted one of the babies in the mid-90s, where it was shown at the Museum of Modern Art in Chicago and other locations in the U.S. The babies express his concern for the dehumanization of society, and he conceived the idea of using the most precious thing to humankind, a baby, and replacing its face with a stamp of a barcode. Fascinating and disturbing at the same time, since the conception of the first bar-coded faced baby, they have multiplied and appeared in installations around the world. For more than 30 years, David Cerny has used his art to connect with the greater public, not the world's art establishment. Free-thinking, strong-willed, and eccentric, provocation is the motivation for everything he creates. His work may be an assault on politicians and the elite, or whimsical metaphors of contemporary society. But regardless of whom or what may be his target, it's hard to ignore him. David Cerny's art may entertain, disturb, or both, but all the while it's shouting to us to wake up and realize what's happening to the world we live in.